I've been doing a lot of meditating, and some of my meditations have been quite strange. And I'm going to say some things, and while I tell you the story, I'm going to describe what's happening in the world right now. We're going to go to Gaza together, and we're going to go to other parts of the world. And we're going to scan the grid. So we're going to go into an altered state. I'm in a trance state. I got my water here. And I'm going to tell you what I see in Gaza and in a couple of other places. It's important not to find ourselves in judgment. It's important that we'll talk about it. Israel is inside the belly of the beast, inside the aorta of Hamas right now. Okay? This is how I want you to think about it. Do you remember when last week, and I believe I have taped it, I have it in tape, I told you guys that the mosque, specifically to look at the border. Here's an image. Here's the border. And I said that there was a main, this is mosque country over here. Yeah, mosque country. Now, if we go in to mosque country, if we go further in, we see that the Martyrs Mosque, which I pointed to last week, is now gone. And it no longer can be found on Google Maps. So I want to repeat that last week, what I showed you in a remote viewing, I showed you images of Google Maps, and I showed you the trade route that was taking place where smuggling was happening from the Martyrs Mosque, which was a major business, and it was being smuggled. And I want to be very specific here to anybody who might be watching. Look under car parks. Car parks for the aorta. So we have the Israel coming along the Philadelphia corridor, taking the Philadelphia corridor. Hi, Mila, how you doing? And Israel is now inside the belly of the beast. This is mosque country over here. This is Rafah. So if you're looking at the weapons coming in from Iran and Russia, it's right around here. So car park. We're looking for a car park. You drive into the car park, you open a back wall, and boom, you go down into evidently the IDF and other people, or somebody's watching, or they wouldn't be taking down things after I point them out. But that's okay. I'm here. I work for the West. Hopefully this is helping intelligence. But yeah, so we're looking at this area, going in and then coming out. This is the aorta of the beast. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what it looks like. It looks like a beast. It's easy to fall into judgment when you see it as something that's alive. You see it as something that's I realize I wasn't showing it to you. I apologize. Here it is. This is what I wanted to show you. They've removed the identification of the Martyrs Mosque. It's not there anymore. School's been temporarily closed, possibly due to protest from students. Who knows? But this is where I keep going, right here. This is where the main tunnel is. Here. Right about here. There's something. Car park. Car park. I see a car park. What is this gate? What is this? What is this? This has me curious. I feel density here, right over here. This is curious. With these trucks. So it feels like a beast, and I'm inside the beast. This is the aorta. And when I get inside the aorta, when I go inside the main tunnel, it's wide. It's wide, like round, like a heart. And that is where the beast is. That is where the weapons are being made. That is where stuff is being trucked out. And it's underneath that area I showed you. And it's quite wide. They're very close. They're going to find it tonight or tomorrow. So the point being, Egypt is being very nice. They're not blaming Israel for the friendly fire situation, I guess, or whatever happened where Egyptians were killed, because this is a very delicate time in the operation, and they are now in the beast, in the flames, in the beast. And why did so many people try to stop them from stopping this? Like, why did the whole entire world try to stop Israel from, we're talking less than 48 hours, they're going to be there. This is a massive, wide tunnel with directly under the border, going out into a trucking area and car parks. Possibly behind a fake wall. And they've lied to the world, because Israel wasn't occupying Gaza. Iran was. And they destroyed the people of Gaza. They destroyed their lives. They kidnapped their women, their children, and a lot of bad things are going to come out, and the people have suffered a lot. So, yeah, in the next 48 hours or less, this is less, they're going to be at that main location. Yeah. You know, when we started this channel to show people what it's like to be a remote viewer, to be able to actually see stuff, and then to see if I can get other people to learn how to do it. And maybe my life will not be so lonely. I wonder how many other people can see it. Can they feel the density? Can my students feel it in their guts? Whoosh. When I point it out to them. Right, this area has me curious. This is the heart of the beast, this circle. This is the heart of the beast right over here. Keep going back here, over to this area. See, I pull back and then I go back and I just fall in. This is the aorta of Hamas. And then a car park. At the border. Somebody is watching my work because they've been removing points. Where did they go? What is this? Interesting. Very interesting. Let's see more. Wonder if any of my students are getting a hit. Interesting. Okay. So that is remote viewing. That's the point. So if you're a student of HCRV, by the way, we finished class up. We have the next couple of weeks off. Yeah, I did trance work, and every time I go into the bathroom, not necessarily even to use the bathroom, but I don't know, there's something energetically going on there. To wash my hands or anything monotonous. And then as I was coming out of the bathroom, I felt I'm entering, I think about how's Israel doing? What's Hamas up to? And as I came out, I thought, oh my, I'm in the heart of the beast. I'm just about to enter the heart of the beast, aren't I? Yeah, so look at that. Isn't that incredible? The history. Look at that. So that is what I see for that area, just scanning the grid. It's interesting, you know, every time I go back, every time I scan back, do this when you're in the trance state. See where your gut takes you. It's like, find the terrorist. We know they're smuggling through here, right? Israel's taken the Philadelphia corridor. Okay, here's Kerem Shalom. They've taken this part of the, okay, so we've got this going on. And then they're moving down this way. And then as you're moving towards the heart of the beast, right around this area, this is the area where you start getting stuck. If you put yourself in the shoes of IDF, of an Israeli soldier, and you're plowing through, and right now the battles are very, very fierce. But you try to come in here like this, they know that you're coming for the heart of the beast. And the entire world is saying, stop, 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 crimes against humanity. Meanwhile, 1 million people have left and they're over in Khan Yunis. They're over in this area in safe zones. They're not there, but they're putting out propaganda. No, it's a crime. You must stop, stop, stop. Why? Because this is the heart of the beast. And who is the beast? Iran, the occupier of Gaza. And this is the area, this is the meat, and this mosque. And over here, this is where the Al-Awada Mosque, have they gotten to the Al-Awada Mosque yet? This is the meat of it right here. This area. I keep going back, and then I keep looking for car park right at the border. I just, I don't know why I love my job so much, but I do. I just hunt like a dog. I'm like a dog with a bone. I cannot stop until this country club right here, there's a weapons cache there if they haven't gotten to it yet. The sports club, and also training young men, training young Hamas soldiers. That's what this was turned into. Wireless accessories, this too. And the mosque, here's a unit. They need to go in this whole area. But I'm seeing under the car garage, where the cars are parked, there's tunnels. Something over here too. This area right here, there's a tunnel. I wonder why. How'd they even get a tunnel in there? Let me find out. How'd they get a tunnel in there, and why did they have a tunnel? Why is there a tunnel there? Why is there a tunnel there? Why is there a tunnel? What is that? Is that a weapons cache? What is this? Something buried under that property here, right here. There's something buried here. Huh. Wow. Yeah, you should do it, folks. Well, how is everyone? How are my naughty little fellow psychics? I never know where I'm going to go. Like sometimes I obsess about Will and Kate. How is Will? How is Kate? Are Will and Kate happy? When is Kate going to eat something? Honey, you're too skinny. You're a sweet girl, but you need to eat more food. Yeah, so these are the things I ask myself many, many times. How is everybody? Well, based on this remote, they should be in the eye of the beast. Well, there's so many like that. We found a couple caches. But that main tunnel, I think we got to it probably in less than 2 days. I would think they'll be there in less than 2 days. Why do you guys think? Do you think that the world? Why do you think the world is trying to stop Israel from doing that? Why would you want to stop them from killing the beast? Like, why would you want to stop that? What is happening that people are like, stop, you must stop now? Like now? When we are 38 hours away from the beast? Oh, somebody is screaming. I hear a kid having a temper tantrum. Somebody's having a sugar. It's like, God, some kids, have you noticed that kids are getting bigger and bigger lungs? Is it just my imagination? I think there's actually some truth to this. There's evidence that our kids, well, hear me out, that our kids are becoming addicted to junk food. Mm-hmm. That kid I could hear was being taken out of the Safeway. And that kid was screaming like that because that kid is an addict. No, I'm not going. No. It's like, okay, clearly the kid saw the Twinkies. Still screaming. What's that about? Huh? What's that about? That's an addiction, right? Let's do the empath's prayer. Oh my gosh. The craziness has to stop in Gaza. Yeah, I thought that I would come and do a remote view. I was going to tape it, but I accidentally shot live. So I'm like, well, now I'm here. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together, collectively, we say, Amen. You know, life is strange. And I'm thinking that it's more important that I be kind to people than to stick up for myself. I don't know. I'm now getting to a point. I've been meditating and I've been thinking, well, good for me that I stood up for myself. And hey, you're not going to treat me like that. And blah, 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 blah. And I am woman, hear me roar. And now I'm thinking, you know, what's the point? It's like, isn't it better to just be kind? But yeah, but then you can't, because then the monsters take over the world and they take it all. And then, so you have to fight. See, we don't want to fight, but yes, but Rush, but sometimes you have to fight, you know? Israel doesn't want to, destroy the heart of the beast. But once they do, it's going to be so good for the people of Gaza because then they can get help. Then they can, once they staunch that hole, then they can get deprogrammed because they were held hostage. And And then it was like, oh, we love Hamas. Yes, we love Hamas because they just, took our kids down into a hole, our daughters, and now our daughter is pregnant by this nut job. So, it's going to be interesting to see if people can get like deprogrammed and stuff. But yeah, I think, God, that must be that it's going to be so vulnerable. You can't just have people going into a tunnel. A tunnel, if it's like 60 square or however many, to have the size of a tunnel like that, you can't even flood a tunnel that size, I don't think. Well, if they flooded it, it would if you follow the energy onto the other side of Egypt, it goes down like this. So if you imagine yourself in Israel going into the massive tunnel where the weapons are coming, and then you imagine your flow of energy, and you're going to be like the water and flood it, I find myself going like, which would make sense because I would be headed towards Port Said, and I'm going down towards the water. And then there's another one that takes me this way, which is towards Sinai, right? So if they flooded it, it would take massive amounts. It would take so much water, and it could potentially crumble the structure above it. So it would be a problem for the entire it would be a problem for the Gaza-Egypt border, because you might see a collapse of some of the what would that be? You might see a drop in land in some of the area. Yeah, it might cause irreparable damage to the border. Yeah, so that's the thing, Joel. It's a group of occupiers saying that the other person is but not react emotionally, but we still have to stop. We are still called, it's like in the Torah, it says, justice ye shall pursue. So we are obligated to create a just system of laws. So if we find something is morally or ethically wrong, or that someone is abusing someone in our communities, we have a moral responsibility to stop it, get help for the victim, and to make sure the perpetrator is dealt with. Maybe they can get help, maybe they can't. To be removed from the general population is certainly an ancient idea. At the first is that you get hold of them and you get them away from the general population. So to say, well, I'm just going to let the monsters do whatever they want and just say yes, 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 yes. That's a really great sin. I mean, it's like this idea of how much do we like democracy? Well, we love democracy, and we're just going to go enjoy all the benefits of democracy. But the things that we enjoy, people died to keep, because we don't want to be Iran. And the West is not the aggressor here, objectively speaking. It's Iran that's the aggressor. Iran is saying the entire world is going to be jihad. They're clearly the aggressor. They're the ones saying that we are all going to be under them. So, and it's not just Israel. It's also Britain, the United States, the entire West. They don't like Western values. They don't like the way our women dress. They think it's an abomination. They want us all to be Muslims, right? Their version of Islam, right? So I really like being a Westerner. I like being able to vote. I like the fact that I just got a message saying that my vote was received and that I got to pick in a democratic free election. I wasn't totally happy with my choices, for Democrats, but it's a couple things I would have preferred, but I'll take it. But that's a democracy. That's how a democracy is built. So, yeah. Well, the Palestinian people have to be helped and they have to be shown and they have to be supported, not abandoned as when we knew that this was what Iran was going to do and then say, look, you can't govern yourself. That's stupid. You have to have a pro-Western military support of the Suez Canal, talk about what the real issue is. It's about trade routes. Look at what happened. They're blowing up tunnels, which is what? A trade route. And what was Hamas doing? It was taxing the people. So the people were being exploited by Iran. They weren't able to get goods and services in. They were being exploited left and right. They were being sexually molested, which is something that in that culture, a lot of women are afraid to come out and say, look, my daughter. You're not going to come out and say I was in a forced marriage or I was in an arranged marriage with a Hamas fighter. Like you're going to say no? What would happen if you said no? The girls that got kidnapped, they were all of them were to be wed. They said, you are all to be brides. Jewish, you're not Jewish anymore. You're going to become brides of Islam. They didn't kill them. They raped them and said, okay, well, this guy likes you. And you're all going to be brides now. So the same thing happened to the women of Gaza. They couldn't say no. Oh, well, this is the best thing that you can do for the revolution is you're going to marry one of these drugged out nut jobs. Yeah. So when I did a remote on Iran, hi, Joel. Thank you for being here. I love you, Joel. Joel's my boyfriend now. I've got a boyfriend, Joel. I've decided Joel's my boyfriend. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's a nice guy. But yeah, Iranian Revolution this year. Yeah, very likely. It's interesting. I was very surprised that Ibrahim Raisi came up when I did a remote view that he was going to be assassinated. And I remember I've not been doing well mentally and emotionally. I feel so bad for Lena Rodriguez that I was like, having a meltdown. But some days are harder than others as a reader. But I actually remembered thinking when I saw that, why are they assassinating him? Like, why Ibrahim Raisi? Like, the first thought would be, well, he's the VP. He has no power. Like, exactly what other people have said. But then I did research, and actually, Al-Hamini is 85 years old. And so moderates inside Iran felt like Raisi was half an inch from the trigger. So that if this 85-year-old guy died of a heart attack or anything like that, within a blink of an eye, this nut job, the butcher of Tehran, would become the new nightmare of Tehran. And the other thing that was interesting about the remote was that he was assassinated by moderate bureaucrats working with inside the Iranian government. So the paper pushers. Yes, sir. Whatever you want, sir. Paper pusher. Just another paper pusher following behind. And it was the paper pushers that were risking their lives and were working with moderates in the government and ultimately are assassinating people. Yeah. Whether it's sabotaging helicopters or poisoning people, in some cases, poisoning drivers. That was one of the remotes I saw. Yeah. A thermos of tea that the helicopter pilot was given. So the takeaway is that I know. How long does that stuff take to kill you? So what's the one that tastes like almonds? Which one is that would be you would get in tea, like an almond tea? Is that cyanide? That's cyanide, right? So what is cyanide? 10 to 15 minutes? Oh my God. As the pilot, I felt a sharp pain here. And then it became very, very hot. And then it became increasingly hot. And then it went up into my chest and then up into my jaw. So I assumed I had a heart attack. And then I slumped over and lost control. And then it went in. Now, people claim that there was a fire in the back. I don't know if there was a fire or if they also sabotaged it. They did double duty, make sure he's really dead. But I can tell you, as the pilot, it felt like it was in my gut, and then there was like discomfort, then a burning, then it came up, then it was just like came over here, and then into the chest, and then I fell over like that, and then when I slumped over, and then I lost control, and then we went into a mountain, and then we fell back into a ravine, and then we were covered by some trees, and that's why I knew the drone wasn't going to be able to see them until the drone went under the trees to see the helicopter. But what I imagine also is that if I had been the pilot, Shukran, that took the thermos of tea with me up in those mountains, I would have offered the tea to everyone else. Please help yourself. I would have offered teacups. I wouldn't have sat there and just drunk my tea and not given any of the hot tea to everyone. Everyone would have received some of the cardamom tea or whatever the tea was. So, when I think about this vision and the last words, I don't feel so good, which I think was his last recorded words, right? So all of that, what do you have to have a sense of humor as a remote viewer, but I kept thinking of, is she dead? The wicked witch? She's most assuredly dead. What's the line? Oh, God, I can't remember the line. Why do I not remember? I loved this from childhood, but it's like, but that's kind of how I felt. Like, okay, you sabotaged the helicopter, and then in case that didn't work, you poisoned them all with cardamom tea. So poison takes, I heard it takes about 15 minutes. Okay, so 15 minutes. I felt like it took me about 12 minutes to die from the time I began taking it. So that means that we hit altitude where I felt I was comfortable. So at that point, we're like, goodbye. We've hit our altitude, but everybody likes some tea. Great. So everybody gets to be served the tea. We're all sitting there and we're having our tea. And then we come around a mountain. And then we were headed this way. And then I started feeling a little bit of a pinch. I ignore it. You get little twinges and things. And then it became increasing and increasing and increasing. And then we drove into the mountain. So the people that did that were not the Israelis. The people that did that were not the Saudis, even though the Saudis were glad to be rid of them. It was moderates inside Iran. And then they just decided one by one to start picking off the fanatics. So if you're a fanatic, if you're somebody who's supporting the Islamic Brotherhood, If you're someone that's supporting the war with Israel, those people who are genuinely afraid of this, there are Iranians that want to normalize relations, and they're scared that they're going to get blown up. Excuse me, in the middle of it. Sorry, so take a drink. And so they're desperate to open up. Let's all talk about this, right? And in some cases, they're put at great risk to themselves, wearing tracking devices, for example, letting themselves be tracked and then tracking the suspect. Crazy stuff like that. Yeah, about 15 minutes. I'm so sorry. Horrible. Oh, and she's not only needed, she's really most sincere. Okay. So Ricey is not merely dead, he's really most sincerely dead. Yes. I know. They just, they are taking out their own. They don't need the Israelis. And I think that Al-Hamini doesn't want to admit that his own people hate him, that a large percentage of his own people hate him. And so it's easy to say, oh, blame the Israelis. No, it's your own people. Your own people are trying to assassinate you. Yeah. The CIA, yes, and in the sense, excuse me, in the sense that they recuperate or they recruit people that are pro-Western and communicate and help and assist pro-Western allies that are inside the government that are trying to dismantle it from within. Yeah. And so, yeah. So arranging car accidents, Wouldn't you be able to find the poison in the drink? Wouldn't they be able to find cyanide in the drink? Or would they just not even think about it? Or, would it decompose? How stable is it once it hits a hot drink? It's not very, very stable, is it? That would be something interesting to look up. Like if it's only stable for a couple of hours, then there would be if something hits heat and it becomes unstable, disassociates from whatever and becomes unstable like cyanide, then within a couple of hours, by the time that they were to get a sample, it wouldn't be there anyway, right? I don't know what the stability is. I know that it's carbon 3. Nitrogen has 3 to 1 carbon, and then 1 electron is attached to whatever is holding it. So it's not stable at all. It's extremely unstable, I would think. Those of us who are chemistry geeks. Yeah, so you might even lose 30 to 40% potency as soon as you put it in a hot drink, right? Because it of the structure. So within 20, 30 minutes, you've lost maybe 40% of the cyanide. And then by the time they've recovered everything, the heat, etc., the air, there might not be even enough. So there wouldn't be any evidence of it. It's just cardamom tea. Did the guy have a heart attack? What about autopsy? Would you be able to see cyanide on autopsy, or would it just look like a heart attack? No, but if the bodies were destroyed on impact, they're going to still do an autopsy, though, I think. Sorry, my cat. That's why I'm coughing. I'm choking on her hair. It is what it is. Oh, I'm a soprano. Soprano alto. Ukraine knocking out the nuclear radars in Russia. It would be a deterrent of them using nuclear weapons if they themselves if they couldn't protect themselves against a second strike, because you have first strike, second strike. So if he were to initiate a first strike and then say, "Well, I can detect your stuff and we can kill you, but we will protect ourselves." Well, no, you won't, because we've just knocked out your ability to detect us. So if you strike us, we will strike you and you won't be able to protect yourself and you'll all be obliterated. So the takeaway is, don't strike us, and then we won't, because a second strike will take you out. It does come up in autopsy. What about Chuck Nick or whatever that one is? Is that the other one? Does come in autopsy. It'll be interesting if, see, in that culture, for sure he would have shared his tea. There's no way he wouldn't have shared his tea. That's called spilling the tea. Right. Let's take a look. This is fun hanging out. I didn't expect to come in. I just thought I was going to do that. Oh, clouds. The clouds of war. I'm telling you, over Iran. There are clouds of war over Iran. Not only that, but there's increasing disgust from the rest of the world. The opposition is the prickly cactus mountain. Hopes and fears, the bear. Why is that? Why would they be afraid of Russia? Why would Iran be afraid of their ally, Russia? Maybe they're feeling pressure. This is the other thing I was thinking. You know how Russia is losing the war and they need help now? That means that they're putting more and more pressure on Iran. If I go down, you're going down. So they have this kind of fear of, the bear is Russia. So Iran is afraid of how much they can give to Russia right now. They're looking, the man who looks, they're looking at the situation. The clarification for Iran, they're confused. They don't know what to do. Look at that, depression and clouds. Their opposition, the prickly mountain, a letter. They're about to receive an official letter. So it's like an official letter from the king. An official letter is to be received. So Iran is having to answer for some things. There's some kind of a high court it's now coming after them. You can see a letter, and also the mountain is their opposition. The book is coming after them. It's interesting. And also Russia is in trouble. There's a message coming from, it's interesting. Damn, this country, Iran, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It is headed in a very bad direction, and the West is headed in a very good direction. And I'll tell you why, because Iran's future is clouds, depression. In a maze, they don't know what to do, they're lost. They have created this for themselves, and the skith of death. So, trying to cut down on the revolution, the fact that people within their own government, the paper pushers, are assassinating their own leadership. Think about that. The bureaucrats are taking over. Yes. It reminds me of that movie. Oh my God, that movie was so funny. Do you guys remember that? Where they all quit their job. It was one of Jennifer Aniston's first movies. And she was a waitress, and they all had a crappy job, and they burn the place down, and the guy that's getting picked on winds up running off with all the money. what's the name of that movie? Office Space. Yes. And the nerd, he was holding onto his space, and he didn't want them to take away his stapler. Yes. So that guy, right? Remember him? This is kind of like that. um, just death. And then you can see here the garden. So Israel is the garden. Yay, new young children, a new life, new beginnings. And also a letter or writ is coming to them. Hopes and fears. They're being given an offer to change their ways. Look at this. It has to do with trade. They're if they change their political, if they move away from, people are trying to move towards moderation. And if they can do that, then if Iran can move towards moderation in certain issues, they can offer them trade. But it's looking like Iran is headed towards a crash, a major crash. You know, look at this. The writer. The other thing is I saw people fleeing Tehran. People were like afraid that they were going to be hit by a bomb in Tehran, and there were people are frightened that they were going to be assassinated. They're, time to go on summer holiday and not come back, just because so many assassinations are happening, and they don't know who's up to it. But a lot of it is the paper pushers. But you can see here, the first house. They're depressed. The clouds in Iran. There's just this general feeling of occupation by their own government. They're completely confused. The maze. They don't know where to go. The Skith, death, Skith. Maybe they're also trying to cut down on the revolution that's happening. There's a revolution brewing. And the writer, people are scattering. They may even be trying to get out of Tehran. So there's this feeling like, I got to scatter. The opposition, which would be Israel, the West, comes as the mountain, right? So the mountain that they cannot get past, the Western Alliance. And then a letter comes to them. So a letter is going to be sent from the West, basically an offer. Either you stop your crazy behavior, because all of this stuff is going to be exposed, because they're now in the aorta of the beast in the next couple of days. All this evidence of what they did, which ultimately harmed Palestinians, it harmed the people of Gaza, never gave them a fighting chance to have a country as long as as Iran was there. And all of that's going to start coming out in the next couple of weeks. And it's going to change the narrative a lot. And it's going to be the shame of Iran that they're going to have to explain a lot of this stuff. You can see the garden continues. The West, you have to fight for democracy. You can't just sit back and hope that everybody's going to like democracy because you like democracy. Not everybody likes democracy. And you can see the ships of trade are with the West. However, the writer can be messaging, so we're seeing communication. That's good. The hopes and fears for Iran at this time was, number one, the bear, saying no to Russia, saying no to Russia's needs, maybe in terms of the military, fear of the book, and that leads me to think international criticism. When all these tunnel networks, terrorism, and all of the film footage of all the horrible things that were done to the hostages, all of that stuff's going to be internationally reviewed, and it's going to change things. It's also, the narrative's also going to change in Lebanon as Lebanon becomes cleared. So we have this change in the book, fear of a new offer is coming to them. You got to change your ways, and you got to change your international policies, Iran, if you want a piece of the pie. The other thing is fear of the bouquet. You either take this offer, you either take the bouquet, sweetheart, or things are not going to go well for you. Well, we're not going to take the bouquet. So the first response from Iran is they're just going to sit and watch. Just sitting and watching and thinking, well, what will be, will be. Then another message. Then the stork came. We sent you a message. Do you want to open up communication? You're going to have to come to the table and agree to stop this war with Israel, stop the Hezbollah, Hamas, stop this attacks on Israel if you want to be part of this. There's this type of message to change your ways. The card of trade is the fish. moving. And the umbrella, is your trade going to be safe? So this ultimately, again, can I get a piece of the pie? And the final outcome is the Tower. So the West gave you, oh my God, it's storming out. That's why now people are yelling because it just started raining. Oh, it's so beautiful. I love it when it rains. So the takeaway is that now this takes us to, I guess I watch a lot of movies, The Godfather, right? This is like The Godfather. I gave him an offer he couldn't refuse, right? So they gave Iran an offer they couldn't refuse. Take the offer. Recognize Israel. Get rid of your Hezbollah, stop funding these terror armies. You got to dismantle them, open up trade. Stubborn refusal to do so will lead to all-out civil war and economic collapse for Iran. It's a last Hail Mary. It's the response where we gave you an offer you couldn't refuse. How do we know the offer? The bouquet, the ring, honey. You going to follow the rules or not? Well, I'm afraid I don't want to say no to Russia. You're going to have to decide. Well, Russia doesn't want you to do what? Agree to this and get to be part of the a greater trade route. This is the Silk Road. How long have people been fighting over this? And how many more years will people be fighting about the Silk Road and the trade? If these cards are right, then they are increasingly isolating Russia from her allies. And she is pressuring Iran for support, and Iran is unsure of what to do. And that could mean temporarily halting arms and support while they try to figure it out, because they're looking, they're holding, they're waiting. They don't take this offer. I'll tell you honestly, a ship moving on with the West and their garden is great. Here's the letter, here's the edict, comply. I'm telling you, they're looking at civil war 100%. Tower as the outcome. Yeah, not good, not good. Oh, yeah. Well, they've got rapid, what was that? I was just saw what you said. Yeah, you're right, Joel. And if June 17th is when they plan to begin to really start hitting, see the things they tell me. If June 17th is the time when they really start hitting Crimea, then awesome. Well, wouldn't that be the first thing they would do, Joel, would be to knock out the communications infrastructure? That would be the sign of things to come, would be that we start seeing them attacking communications, etc. Evidently, they've knocked out the water. Is that right? Yeah. And I know people are starting to evacuate, which they should, because the West is coming. Yeah. People still believe, people still think that Russia could win, If China and Iran pour all their attention into helping Russia, it could be, and like pouring all their weapons, and we got to do this, then it could be really a problem. I'm really worried about Taiwan. Do you guys want to talk about China and Taiwan? I was listening to The Enforcer. I know a lot of people don't like them, but I think that I think they sound pretty sound to me. But China is doing war maneuvers near Taiwan. Some people see it as saber rattling. I put myself in the shoes of Xi, the Do we call him the president of China? Yeah, I guess we do. And I felt publicly humiliated and embarrassed by the way that Nancy Pelosi had talked to me when she had gone to Taiwan. And I think the reason why is because China is exclusively male leadership, and that's because women are not allowed into the military schools that pick future Chinese leadership. And so there's no opportunity for women to be in leadership in China. So you have this all male leadership that all went to the same all boys military school that will always be in charge of China. And you have this woman marching towards Taiwan telling him that he can go screw himself. And so for me, I felt when I put myself in his shoes, I was extremely embarrassed. At first, I was embarrassed. Then I was shocked. I mean, this is an extremely embarrassing thing for a woman to do to the head of China. I didn't just get fired. You didn't just fire my country. The way that it was done with this little woman. So I felt like it was the ultimate slap in the face and really tone deaf and culturally. It was, and I really think that Nancy Pelosi should have thought before she had. She really was not being. We can still go to Taiwan, but it was not the best. It really pushed some buttons in terms of Chinese culture and saving face and being respectful to the leader of a country. There's a certain way you have to behave, and he did not. There's a certain deference that he did not receive, and it has not played out well at all. So let's see about whether or not China is going to invade Taiwan. I don't think they can financially afford it. That's what I always feel. The sun. It's interesting. The sun is the symbol of Japan also. The coffin. The clouds. And the mountain. I don't like seeing that coffin there. The sun could indicate something happening over the summer, something that they deliver over the summer. Something could be delivered over the summer. They're doing this because coffins of death by those who engaged in theft. Yes, it's very likely because you have here in the summertime, they're delivering something that could be delivering bombs. It could be delivering of a war, right? The opposition is in the grave. The thieves that attempted to steal my cheese, right? Again, took my land, took Taiwan, right? So you have the thieves taking the cheese. The hopes and the fear is clouds and the moon. So they're really afraid for their future, I think. You know, clouds would be dark days lay ahead. The moon, I don't think they know what to do. You know, they're really confused about what to do. The final outcome for them, again, this is what has me nervous. A mountain lay ahead for China, but also the skith of death. So she really has to start to use his head and not go crazy. Yeah, it's really not good. Yeah. Oh boy. Oh, they knocked out, Joel is explaining that, yes, they knocked out the radar and communications before the offensive. So I'm assuming because they planned the offensive, and I think that the West is going to be involved. Now France has just come in to help with training. And they're very, yeah. So the fact that I got a hard date, June 17th, I don't know what's going on the 17th, but it's between June 17th, 18th. We're going to see some activity like that. So it's already being pre-planned. I don't think that they can get out of it at this point. But if I know, then Putin knows, I would think. So if I were him, I would get my people out of Crimea. U.S. carriers near Taiwan. Yes, it has me very nervous. I don't like those cards at all. And I don't know why. They can't afford this. I keep thinking the same thing. The best way to get around this is for Biden to help him save face by giving him a warm welcome and making him feel like a man again. This is the loyal puppy that always wanted to be an American. He wanted to be an Iowa farm boy, and he didn't get to be the Iowa farm boy. He had to go back and avenge his father, right? He had to go and be the future leader, right? After his father had been jailed and tortured by the Chinese Communist Party, he became the head of it, right? So he's got his issues. The loyal dog. This is his perception of his relationship with the United States. I am a loyal dog. I really like America. I really liked being in the Iowa cornfields, right? So he really liked his experience of being in the United States, and don't you just love me? Love me now. So he has no perception of the damage that was being done. You know, from his perspective, everything was great because his needs were being met, right? Not realizing that it's not good for us, right? Us, how he perceives of us, clearly confused. The moon. The United States has no idea just how great we had it before. The relationship was great. We stole all your ideas and produced a bunch of cheap knockoffs and bankrupted American companies in the process. And moon is, like I said, to be confused, but it also has a psychic aspect of being psychic or intuitive. In this case, though, I think he really thinks that we are lunar, like that he does not understand why America left. He's truly baffled. And the fact that he sees himself as a loyal dog, so he really doesn't get it. Again, here, the fear of war, Skith, the fear of this confrontation with the West, and then the ring leads me to think that a bunch of guys coming and patting him on the back and, giving him an Iowa corn dog. That's all he needs, and he is having some serious, they are in some serious trouble over this whole thing. But, has Biden, did Biden do that? I hope he did, because it's very important to do that. Are they thinking about going to Hawaii for talks? Because, again, here, he's trapped. Look at that. Trapped by the snake. Also, the snake is a healing symbol, so it's not entirely bad. So it's a situation that could be healed. Look at the United States. Clouds and confusion. They don't want trouble. When Biden says, I don't want conflict with you, he means I don't want conflict with you. Hopes and fears, the stability, the anchor, and then the final outcome. Oh, it just dawned on me. I haven't had dinner. No wonder. Yes, I did. I had lunch. Never mind. Talking to myself. And then the final outcome is a new tree, a new relationship with the ring, which means that some of the relationship and some of the contracts, some of the business contracts between the United States and China will start up again. We will resolve some of our business. I believe that Biden will talk to Xi, and I believe they will start up new contracts based on, because the tree is there, and that's also new growth, new generations. So yeah. So and their roots, they share mutual roots. So it's going to be interesting. It's a very tentative situation, particularly since the business went to Taiwan and they think it's the same as Russia, that this is our stuff. We built it. It's this idea that we're the victims. It's a very bizarre. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Joanna. Do we have class tomorrow? Does anybody remember? Oh, that's the other thing. Do people want to meet on Wednesdays or Fridays for class? Mystery school. This is the first thing. What, Wednesday or Friday? We've got a couple weeks off anyway. I don't think we're meeting this week because we just graduated a whole other group of you. I'm still waiting for emails for those of you who want to get credit for the class. I need notes. I need a teaching notes for some person who's getting teaching certification. 125,000 troops near Ukraine now. Oh, they do, Joel? Wow. Joel, you're like a little computer. You know all these facts. Info about what? The class? Yeah, I'm crashing too. I'm gonna go have a snack and go to bed. Send me your email if you want credit for class and your certification letter. If you have taken 3 classes or more, you are eligible for teaching certification. So you need to take the syllabus, the existing syllabus, and construct a teaching manual based on the syllabus. You can change the syllabus up, but and if you do, you can explain why. Or if you, but yeah. But once you put together something that shows how you're going to teach the syllabus. Oh, you crashed my class? Oh, good. I hope you liked it. Yeah, so if you want to join, it's the Elders and Empaths level. And yeah, we meet on either Wednesdays or Fridays. I wish the students would find out when they I think it's like 60% want Friday. Yeah. All right, folks, I'm starting to fall asleep. It's okay. It's only 9 o'clock. I got up really early. Today. All right, my loves, be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. We'll see you next time. Thank you, everyone.